Philosophy is more than just discourse. It is a tool utilized by active people and has been for centuries helped find solutions to their issues and accomplish their biggest victories. We've all been happily married, deeply in love, and strolling hand in and through a beautiful place at some point when the sun sets and the city is illuminated by street lights and the soft, cozy glow coming from neighboring windows. There is a fight and a mistake is made. We break up because we are late too often, or because of uncontrollable circumstances. The thread of this beautiful tapestry we call our partnership is broken, for whatever reason, whoever made the decision. So what happens next? You might wonder we recover. But how? By consulting traditional wisdom, here are some tips on how to move on. After a split from the ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius famously observed the things that cause us to feel angry or saddened are far more dangerous than the things that cause them. The first rule of holes is to stop digging if you find yourself in one. This may be the most misapplied piece of advice ever. What most of us do when something goes wrong or is inflicted upon us is to make it worse by first becoming enraged or feeling cheated, and then by thrashing around before we have much of a plan. Seneca said, "Don't react for the sake of reacting. Stop digging. Don't call and text them 500 times. Don't download every dating app and rush to line up someone new. Don't go on a social media rampage. She also adv against adding an air or other negative emotions to the situation. Remember that we always have a choice. Will we wait for someone to save us, or will we heed Marcus Aurelius's inspiring advice to take charge of your own rescue? If you care for yourself at all, and do it while you can. Will we dwell on the ways we have been wronged, or will we search for lessons? Will we find positive aspects of the relationship? To be grateful for Robert Greene, the best-selling author, states that there are two kinds of time in our lives. A live time, which is when people are learning, acting, and making use of every second, every moment or circumstance that we were not consciously in control of, or chose to be in. Presents this choice: a live time. Dead time. Every part of us wants to whine after a breakup about how awful the situation is, how unjust it is, how we wish we had handled things better, and so on. However, it's this mindset and way of thinking that leads to idle time we can never get back. It's simple to hide under the covers and watch rom-coms for weeks when we're upset, furious, hurt, or devastated, but constantly saying things like, "I reject this," "I desire," or "I demand it on my terms," doesn't lead to any positive results. Instead, it diverts the conversation and offers a chance for personal growth. Through this experience, I can grow and learn new things. I'm committed not to let myself become static. During this time, Marcus Aurelius remarked, "Don't be ashamed to ask for assistance. You have a responsibility to fulfill, just like a soldier on the wall of battle. It doesn't matter if you are hurt and unable to climb up without the assistance of another soldier. Nobody ever said that. You were born with all the tools you need to solve problems. Every issue you could encounter in life as a newborn, you were essentially powerless. Someone helped you at that time, and you learned that you could ask for that help. That's how you knew you were loved, and that you are still loved. There are other soldiers, people who have experienced similar pain, who are willing to assist you in getting out of this. You don't have to face this alone. You can ask for help. Just ask for aid if you need it. Buddy, don't allow the entirety of life sweep depress you. Don't let all the worst things that could yet happen consume your thoughts. Keep your attention on the current circumstance, and ask yourself why it is so intolerable and is unsurvivable. When you reflect on some of the most amazing and sometimes terrifying things you've surmounted and survived, how could they have been possible? How could you have seen past the risk or the slim chances? Like Marcus said, you refrained from dwelling on the bad things that happened to you, or allowing the whole ordeal to break you. The secret to forgetting the large picture, according to a character in Palin's novel, Lullaby Chuck, is to look at everything up close. However, there are instances when zooming out and understanding the broad picture is crucial sometimes. However, it's unhelpful and overwhelming to be thinking about everything that lies ahead, according to the Stoics. Therefore, we can ignore or eliminate those unsettling or frightening thoughts by concentrating just on the here and now. For example, a man walking a tight wire tries not to consider how high up he is or how far the other side is, according to Epictetus, happiness and freedom. Start with a clear awareness of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not like us. He's better off putting one foot in front of the other. Inner peace and external efficacy are only achievable once you have accepted this essential principle and learned to discern between what you can and cannot manage. Stoicism primarily teaches us that we are powerless over external circumstances and cannot depend on anything other than what our epic instructors referred to as our reasoned choice, the capacity to apply reason to determine our course of action and self-reorientation when something happens that we would like never to have happened. The answer is obvious: accept what happened and modify your wish that it had not happened. Which of these is easy to change, our opinion or the event that has passed? The most virtuous Stoics go one step further and encourage us to truly enjoy what has happened, whatever it may be. Stoicism refers to this as the art of acquiescence, the ability to accept rather than resist what happens many decades later. Nature came up with the ideal phrase to convey this idea, are more fatty. It involves loving everything that occurs rather than merely accepting it. Seneca once remarked, "Deic says, I can teach you how to make a love potion that doesn't include any drugs, herbs, or magical spells, love. If you were to be loved when things are tough, it's very easy to hold on to grudges. Hatred acts as a diversion as well as a convenient means of shifting blame and assigning responsibility to someone else. We lose focus on development as we become preoccupied with getting even or looking into perceived wrongs. But does this animosity get us any closer to our goal, love? Yes, love is a more constructive response to something you despise than staying where we are, or worse, stopping our own development entirely. Send your love to the parent who let you down and the administrative assistant who handled your paperwork incorrectly, the people who deceived you, the group that shunned you, the former partner who stole your company concept, and the critic who ridiculed you. There are relatively few circumstances in which hatred is advantageous. Rather, almost all circumstances are made better by love or by engaging in empathy, comprehension, and appreciation exercises. This is true even when you're at odds with someone. You never know if you choose love. You might end up receiving some of that love back, according to Marcus Aurelius. Although it is true that someone can obstruct our actions, they cannot obstruct our intentions and attitudes, which have the capacity to be conditional and adaptive. This is because the mind is able to adapt and turns any hindrance to action into a means of accomplishing it. An obstacle on the path becomes the path, and an obstacle that stands in the way of progress through a breakup. You have the ability to perform the Stoic exercise of turning obstacles upside down, which takes one unfavorable event and uses it as an opportunity to practice an unintentional virtue or form of perfection. The mind is eternally elastic and malleable. Try this line of thinking and see whether there is a situation in which one could not find some virtue to practice or benefit from. For example, if something makes it difficult for you to reach your destination on time, you have the opportunity to practice patience. If an employee makes an expensive mistake, you have the opportunity to teach a valuable lesson. If a computer glitch erases your work, you have the opportunity to start over with a clean slate. If someone hurts you, you have the opportunity to practice forgiveness. Not even when a relationship ends that you didn't want to end, there isn't one. Any obstacle has the potential to promote action in one way or another. Seneca thought it was the solution to all of your troubles, even the most excruciating and terrible ones, making them seem less serious. He says, all you have to do is chuckle and pull back even more. Giving a speech or reading thick, lengthy books,